Chapter 9. 182. Samantha was dumbfounded. She was too angry, and her anger had overpowered her reasons. She did not hear the conversation between Ferron and Carson at all, so she still had no clue about the situation at hand. She was surprised to see Carson on the floor. "Mr. Crest? What's wrong with you?" Samantha asked quickly. However, Carson was lying limp on the floor and did not have the courage to speak. The secretary next to him was pale from fear and trembling all over. Carson could not handle it, let alone his assistant. Wilbur saw that Conan managed to stand, so he beckoned at him. Conan noticed that something felt off, so he cautiously walked towards Wilbur. He did not know what was going on. However, it seemed like Carson, Xylon, and Zev were all terrified. Wilbur looked at Conan and said slowly, "You abandoned Nancy to marry Samantha Lloyd, that's fine. I might have to thank you for that. But why do you have to hit her? Is it because of Samantha's threat? Or is it because of your future and money?" Conan was terrified and could not speak. Wilbur shook his head and looked toward backstage. He said coldly, "Get over here." Xylon, who was stuck to the wall, flinched. Then he cautiously walked toward Wilbur. That kick made him realize Wilbur was a powerful cultivator. He was only a beginner ambience-level cultivator. He felt that Wilbur should be at least a peak ambience-level cultivator. Conan also felt that Wilbur might be a pre-sanctuary-level cultivator. He could tell that Wilbur was much more powerful than he was, so there was no possibility of turning things around. It would be lucky if he could survive this ordeal. He did not dare to expect anything at all. "You're an ambiance-level cultivator, so I can't believe you're involved in a scheme like this. It seems like you and Zev got together to do a lot of dirty deeds. Do you think what you're doing is right?" asked Wilbur in a nonchalant tone. Xylon endured the pain and lowered his gaze. He bowed and replied, "I was wrong and deserve to be punished. Please spare my life. I'll cut ties with Zev Lloyd immediately and never contact him again." Everyone was surprised by Xylon's change in attitude. They couldn't believe the best fighter in Skyville ended up like that. It was just unbelievable. Everyone was very curious about Wilbur and Ferron's identities. They did not look over 30 years old. However, they managed to intimidate someone with high status like Carson Crest. Carson was so scared that he prostrated himself on the floor. They thought one of them had extraordinary combat skills to injure Xylon with a kick. It was truly an unexpected surprise. Wilbur scoffed coldly and looked at Zev. Zev flinched. Wilbur said slowly, "You're not wrong for loving your daughter, but you allowed her to mistreat someone else. You allowed her to bully and humiliate others, so that's a huge mistake." Zev was frantic. Xylon was badly injured, and Carson was limp from fear. That proved that he could not afford to mess with these two. Especially Ferron, because he was the son of a prominent political figure and could end his life. He no longer held the prideful air of a rich man. He kept nodding and agreeing with Wilbur in a cowardly way. Wilbur looked at Samantha and said coldly, "It's all right to be ugly. If you have a nice personality, I'm sure you'll have a lot of pursuers given your identity. However, you chose the most annoying way to belittle others and went overboard with things. You're an absolute trash." "What? What did you say?" Samantha screamed at the top of her lungs. She seemed to have forgotten how scary Wilbur was at that moment. Wilbur was displeased and said coldly, "You'll have to be punished today." "What are you going to do to me? How dare you? My dad is the richest man in Skyville. Who the hell do you think you are?" screamed Samantha maniacally. Everyone looked at Samantha in disbelief. There was pity in their eyes. They were afraid that Samantha had lost her mind. How could she still be so clueless at this point? Suddenly, Nancy looked at Wilbur and said, "Forget it. She's not worth the trouble. Let's just go." "That was my original plan, as I thought it was beneath me to deal with them. But these people kept humiliating you, and they tried to break your leg. I won't tolerate it." Wilbur glanced at Samantha and the others, with a sharp gaze.